Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Clifton Strength Finder's strength of significance. And significance is all about that drive or that determination to stand out, to do something important with your life, and to make a meaningful contribution. So we're going to dive into this. Just a reminder, in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com. I do Enneagram and relationship coaching. If you need some encouragement or some challenge, or your relationship is getting kind of dark and difficult, I would love for you to reach out to me and we can work together. Check out my Present to Life coaching program. I'd love to work with you. Let's dive into this topic today of significance. Now, I've got all kinds of tools in front of me. I've got my little Clifton Strength Finders card on significance and this book I've been reading by Tom Rath, as well as some personal notes about significance, this strength. And you know, all of us should aspire to live lives that make a difference. All of us were created and designed to live out God's purpose for our life, and that purpose is going to be a significant purpose. All of us matter, and significance, this strength, is like living with that sense of purpose, knowing that my life is supposed to make a meaningful contribution. Now, to be honest, I didn't score really highly on this list. I'm not super motivated by standing out and being significant. I don't need this so much, but let's describe it and talk about it. Out of 34 strengths, it was number 28, so pretty low on my list. But I appreciate it, and I think it's an important aspect and something that I could definitely work to grow in, and perhaps you could as well. All right, so let's look at what the card says about it, and then we'll get into a little bit deeper discussion of it. Significance. People exceptionally talented in the significance theme want to be very important in the eyes of others. They are independent and want to be recognized. And so here's the I am statement. I am interested in being seen as significant so that I can accomplish something significant. So not only is it important to do something meaningful, but for persons with this strength or with this aspect, it's important to be seen as someone who is competent, someone who is significant, someone who's doing something worthwhile and important. Here's the I will statement. I will be motivated and influenced by the perceptions of others. And that could be a good thing that keeps you moving forward, or it could be something that could become problematic. We'll talk more about that later. I bring a desire for wanting more, or going to the next level, or accomplishing more. I need an appreciative audience that will bring out my best. So it's very important, the feedback that this person gets, that they receive feedback that, you know, affirms and validates their effort and their contribution. I love associating with successful people. Not only do you want to be successful, but you love the interactions and being mentored and mentoring others in that kind of relationship. I hate being invisible or ignored by others. How does that make you feel? Does that feel pretty painful when you work really hard and you're doing all these things and making all this progress, and then it's just kind of blown off and it's as if nobody knows that you're there? I remember one of my first ministries when I was, my wife and I graduated from Christian college in Orlando. We had an opportunity to drive all the way out west to British Columbia, Canada, which sits right over Washington State. So we took this year to go out west and to work in a little village church up in a little town nestled in the mountains of the Rocky Mountains in British Columbia. It was an awesome experience. But I remember talking to somebody in the church there, and when I was telling him how excited I was to get started, you know, his response to me was, don't be surprised if people don't even know you're here, if people don't even realize that you're at the office. And it just, I know that felt kind of gross, like, wait, I'm doing all this important work, I'm helping people, I'm taking care of all these issues that need to be taken care of, and yet, you know, there was that feeling sometimes that it's just kind of a forgotten place, out of the way, and maybe nobody would really pay attention or care whether you went to work or not. So I hate being invisible or ignored by others. The metaphor is a natural performer who is comfortable with being visible in the center stage or in the bright lights. And the barrier could be, this person could be perceived as an attention hound or a showboat. So let's look at a little bit of what is said about it in this book. This is called Strength Finders 2.0 by Tom Rath. He says you want to stand out. Somebody who's high in the gift of strength of significance, you want to stand out and be known, and particularly be appreciated for your strengths and your contribution professionally, for your success and your improving of everything around you. Likewise, you want to associate with others. You want to push others to achieve. You want to associate with other successful people. Your yearnings feel intense to you, and you honor those yearnings. And so your life is filled with goals and achievement, and to reach those qualifications that you crave. So you're pulled upwards by your desire to make a difference, make an impact, to stand out, to be the best. Your reputation is very important to you and how people perceive you, what people think about you. Okay, so let's get into some of my personal notes here, and I think this stuff is really helpful. And if this is something that you're really strong in, I hope you'll see the best of this and also some of the potential pitfalls that might develop if you're not careful and you don't balance this with maybe other things like humility, okay, or teamwork and those kinds of things. So significance, we've already talked about, to be seen as a person who's important in making a difference. The desire for recognition, a deep desire to be acknowledged and appreciated for your efforts and achievement, seeking validation, often for what you've accomplished or how hard you're working or the progress that you're making. Motivation for making an impact. Now, there is nothing wrong with that. That is a great thing, to want to make an impact in this life, to want to make an impact in your world. I wish more people had this desire to own their space and to recognize that their life matters and that they should seek to make a dramatic impact in the lives of others in the world. Driven to make a meaningful impact that isn't just about success for its own sake, but about doing something that matters and being recognized as a valuable participant by others. There's nothing wrong with that. Everything is good, I think, with that. An aspiration for excellence, quality, high standards, all of that fantastic. Personal branding. This is something that I have to think about because I'm in this world of YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, but in a sense, all of us are kind of, giving off a brand. And we may or may not think about it, but the way we show up, the way we interact, the way we talk, the way we dress, our mannerisms, all of this creates kind of a brand for ourselves. And people like me don't think much about this, but for people who are high in this strength, this is important to you, your personal brand. They're often conscious of their image and how they are perceived by others. Building a strong personal brand is important to them. If I've built a brand, it's by accident. It's not because I'm trying to. It's just I really don't think about it. And obviously, look, I scored 28 on this, so it's not something that's super in front of me as one of my strengths. And learning to balance this strength with humility. Now, this is something good to think about. It's important for individuals with this strength of significance to balance their need for recognition with a proper dose of humility. They have to be careful that you don't overlook the contributions of others and that you're willing to praise and give recognition to others. That praise and recognition that you desire, be willing to share that with others. In a sense, that way you're kind of teaching people your expectations by sharing your praise and validation to other people. And they're going to feel better for it and be motivated to accomplish more themselves. Navigating disappointment. This could be a challenge for somebody who's high in this strength of significance, because what if you don't receive the recognition or the praise or appreciation of others? Then you've got to be able to manage that disappointment without getting too discouraged, without getting too frustrated. If your efforts go unnoticed and you're ignored, or your effort is ignored, you got to learn to find some intrinsic value within yourself. Like, hey, I did a good job. I can be proud of myself. Even if I didn't get the recognition that I like to get from others, I can feel good about myself and my effort because I know I did a good job. Now, how could we grow in this? So the rest of us, for example, that don't score very highly in this, how could we grow in this aspect of significance? Well, I think the first thing that I might do is really sit down and clarify and define my personal goals. Like, what is it I'm trying to accomplish? What needs to change in my world? and make sure that I have a good sense of what I need to go after, what needs to be developed, what needs to be done. You might think of like core values and developing those core values, what's really important to you. Clearly being able to articulate why you want to achieve something, why it matters to you, why it is important. Understanding these things, I think, could help us tap into this sense of living with purpose and living with a sense of significance in our lives. You know what? This is just good stuff. I wish more and more people would find out and do a little research on these personality profiles like Clifton and DISC and Myers-Briggs. This is just so helpful. There's so much, I just want to be an old man here and say there's so much, junk that we waste our time with. Videos like this are so helpful because we're dealing with growing and developing, and it just pays so many dividends in so many aspects of our life. So there's my little good job, Tom. You're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. Maybe I do have significance, a little more than I thought. Okay, develop an expertise. This may be another way to grow in this aspect of significance is, focus your attention on something long enough that you become an expert in that subject. Whether it's the Enneagram or world history or, the French and Indian War, whether it's geometry or anything, find something that you like, something you're interested in, and then focus your attention on that until you become an expert in that subject. Gain deep knowledge and expertise in a specific area, and then you will start to be recognized as an expert in that area. Public speaking and presentation skills. Find opportunities or create opportunities where you can present information, where you can go through your keynote slides or your PowerPoint slides. Find opportunities, pull together people and go through a book or a subject, Bible study, something where you're having to present information and challenge yourself in that way to grow in your ability to communicate. Personal branding, working on that and thinking about how you want to come across and then taking the steps necessary. It might be changing your wardrobe, changing the way you dress, or changing your language, maybe cutting out the swear words. That could be a good start for you. And then reflect on your impact. Take time to think and reflect and have gratitude for how you've been able to make a difference in your world or a difference in the lives of others. Celebrate those wins and celebrate those successes. Now, which Enneagram types would probably score high in this strength of significance? Well, if you know anything about the Enneagram, you're probably thinking type 3s. And yes, they would be at my top of my list. As I read about this strength of significance, I can't help but think about all of the things that I've read and experienced with type 3. So I think 3s are naturally, those are the performers, the achievers. They are definitely going to be the people that would stand out first in our minds as people, with this strength of significance. But I think there's also probably some ones who want to do the right thing and be responsible and show up and make a significant impact. Like the one wing 2, for example, who's wanting to be the mentor, the teacher, the moralist, striving to help others improve their lives. I think also some 8s and probably some type 4s who want to stand out and be different and do things differently. Probably 4-wing 3s primarily. But I think some 4s would also tend to score highly in this area of significance. And then, why would this be difficult for some of us? Why would some of us read this and go, yeah, I'm just not ever going to be good at this? Well, I think some of the reasons might be, we have a very high value of humility and of altruism or love or focusing on others and improving the lives of others, that it feels selfish or it feels self-referencing or too self-centered to constantly focus on myself. I think some of us might fear rejection, and we might really fear if we step up to the plate and we fail that other people could humiliate us, and that would feel awful. It would feel terrible to drop the ball, and lose the game for everybody. And so fear of rejection, fear of how we're being perceived, fear of letting other people down. I think an overemphasis on humility and trying to put others first and be loving and kind and altruistic could hinder this from growth in our life. We might see it as something that's too self-centered. And just, a lack of self-esteem or a lack of self-worth. If you grew up in a home where you were constantly berated and brought down and told that you didn't matter and that you weren't significant, I can see where some people would rebel against that and prove to the world that they're significant, but others might start to adopt that story for yourself that you're not going to be significant. You're never going to make a real impact in the world. And that's unfortunate, because every one of us has an opportunity every day to change the world around us, to show up fully, to fully embrace our strengths, to fully embrace the opportunities in front of us, to navigate through the obstacles and challenges, overcome the weaknesses, and to fully make a difference in this world. And I hope that you know that your life matters. I hope that you know that you are significant. No matter what you accomplish, you're already significant. And then let your work flow out of that sense of significance. So whether you need the praise and attention of others, whether you need that feedback, that sonar message back to you, or whether you're a little more independent, a little more self-reliant, either way, all of us should strive to live lives that do make a significant impact. Whether we need that reverberated back to us or not is maybe not as important as knowing at the end of the day that we live lives that matter, we're doing things that matter, we're making a difference, we're touching and changing and impacting the lives of people around us for the good. And that could be about the best thing we could hope to do with our lives. So what a fantastic strength. If you're high in significance, great. If you're like me and you need to work on this, well, it's just another one of those opportunities for growth. And as always, be present to life, guys. I'll see you next time. And let's go live lives that are significant.